to protect. Congressman Ron Paul argues that the best defense is an austere defense because the profligate spending by the military-industrial complex actually endangers our national security. That's leading to tough questions for Mitt Romney, who would leave his defense policy up to the generals.
Governor, I'm a Ron Paul supporter, and there are a whole lot of us out here this time in the political process. If you win the nomination, how do you plan on getting us on board with you and convincing us that you and Obama aren't just different sides of the same coin?
Well, President Obama represents a very different direction for America. I hope you understand that he and I would take America very different places. My view is that we have to have the strongest military in the world to protect us from the threats around the world.
I didn't hear an answer there, but our next guest says it's not Romney, rather a President Ron Paul who has the best plan for keeping our military the most powerful in the world. Retired Colonel and Freedom Watch regular Douglas Macgregor joins us now. Colonel Macgregor, always a pleasure. Welcome back here.
Hi, Judge.
Can you make the case for us, please, Colonel, as to why a leaner military, a more austere military budget actually will enhance our defenses around the world?
Well, first of all, as Ron Paul has pointed out, we do need to scale back our overseas footprint. Our presence in many parts of the world today is actually a catalyst for conflict. We're not cultivating peaceful conditions. In many cases, we're doing the opposite. The other thing is we're relieving lots of powerful nation states from Germany to Japan of the obligation to pay for their own defenses because we're doing it for them. And as soon as we stop doing that, they'll begin to step up and expend the money and the resources necessary to defend themselves. But here's something else, and it's very important. When you listen to the claims that are made by the other candidates, the only man who's in touch with reality is Ron Paul, and that is we simply don't have the money. We're headed into a very serious financial crisis in the future. We can't afford these grandiose schemes of Mr. Romney for 450 ships. We can't afford the large forces committed to another war, as Mr. Santorum would like to do with Iran. Those kinds of statements are not only inaccurate, they're positively ridiculous.
Colonel, take off, if you would, your military hat and put on your professorial hat as the political scientist that you are. Does the government scare us into thinking that by spending more money, we're actually going to be safer? Stated differently, why do the crowds roar at these debates when Santorum and Gingrich and Romney say, I want to spend more, I want to buy more, I want to build more?
Well, first of all, there are lots of good patriotic Americans who want to equate military spending billions of dollars on things, undefined things, with peace and security. They also equate it with patriotism. So this is red meat for those people. The other problem is that for most Americans, Judge, war is something that happens on someone else's soil, in someone else's country. They don't think of war in the same terms as Europeans or Asians do,
right,
who've experienced war on their own soil. That's a serious mistake because, quite frankly, as Ron Paul has pointed out, increasingly we're inviting war to the United States with our behavior.
What would a Defense Secretary Macgregor advise a President Paul would be the first thing to do right after inauguration?
Well, the first thing is to make it clear that we are first and foremost of necessity for reasons of commerce, primarily an aerospace and a maritime power. We are not a global land power, nor do we need to be. And then secondly, I would absolutely not leave the decision regarding cuts up to any of the generals or the admirals. If you look at what the Army is now planning to do,
right,
they're about to throw 80,000 soldiers onto the street and keep all of the generals and all of the headquarters. So you're going to end up with a ratio of about one general for every 300 or 400 men, whereas during World War II, we had one general for every 5,000 or 6,000.
Got it.
And we were in a real war against a real enemy.
Colonel Macgregor, always a pleasure. Come back again soon, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Judge.
The president is in full